Hey guys, how are you all today? Sorry I haven't been very active the last few days. I have not been feeling good. Not at all. Not at all. Oh man. I'm sitting here looking through some programs now, but I don't know what I'm doing with computers. Oh, oh. Let me get some people in here. Oh, this for the last few days. My daughter hasn't went to school all week. She's been home all week. I don't get it. Oh. Trying to share this out real quick. Hi, how are you, Veronica? Or nope, that's not Bernice. Sorry, Bernice. Sorry. I have, if anybody is in need of it, I have a ton of books on random different things. So I've got a lot of forms. I have a lot of like um, legal forms that are like straight out of the books. If anybody is in need of anything in particular. How is everybody today? I was trying to send out a couple of invites. It's no, it's way earlier than I'm usually on, so I'm trying to get on here earlier. I just have a lot going on usually. Um, but I have been diligently working on all of this stuff still. Um, I did the earlier today. I think I did the certificate of ownership the correct way, but I'm gonna check it before I actually send it in because that's one of like the more important. I think I did the certificate of ownership the correct way, but I'm gonna check it before I actually send it in because that's one of like the more important parts. Oh man, is anybody working this postal process and have any questions about anything? I'm sure y'all probably can't even see the screen because of what's back there. Let me make it a little darker. I don't know if that's gonna work or not. Yeah. Promissory notes, that's what I just had on there. If you send me a message, I actually just went through and screenshotted a bunch of different promissory note stuff. And I also have like this attorney's notes. I posted it a couple of stuff. And I also have like this attorney's notes. I posted it a couple times in the background, but where I got these books and they actually belonged to an attorney. Um, I had her notes where she was writing little notes about the negotiable instruments in her UCC book, and I have those, and I've been putting them in the background here, but I don't think very many people have caught on to that. I try to put whatever and usually whatever I've got in the background is probably something you'd want to screenshot. Just a FYI for future reference, most of the stuff that I put up is not just for no reason. There's a reason for it. Um, but and I have slowed down on sharing the process just because I've noticed that a lot of people want to do this, and I think everybody should do it, but I think we should all be knowledgeable on what we're doing before we just go and do it. So, um, you've already got it all ready to go. Do you have your post office stuff done? Like, are you your own postmaster? I mean, it's really, as much as I hear people talking about this form, that form, oh, okay, so like your 56F and all that good stuff. Uh, oh, well, that's good because like there's oh, well, that's good because like there's really not a lot of forms to well, just to get the process started. It's not a whole lot, but those are very important. That's what I've done so far is my 56s, and I did my 2848 for my power of attorney, um, and for my power of attorney, um, and I'm think I know what I'm doing for the last part, but I'm not sure that that's the last part. I don't know. Um, but I think I need like a good will in place, maybe. I'm, I'm working on getting it all together. Like I said, I want everybody needs help right now, and I'm not by any means saying that anyone is more deserving than anyone else. But what I am saying is that we have got to be knowledgeable about what we're doing. We can't just go doing. That's how people get in trouble, and that's that's what we're trying not to do. And I learned as I started teaching people this that if I'm gonna take on something like that, it's I've got to make sure that the people that are doing it are knowledgeable about what they're doing. It's not just people going and filing paperwork to get their bills paid. I mean, that's what we all need ultimately, and that's the goal. But we need to do it knowledgeably, not just shooting in the dark. Good morning or good evening, Salone. I was beginning to worry about you.
Hello, my lady. How are you?
I'm good. I've been sick the last few days.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. It's giving me time
Are
to
you
just put
drinking
this
are
on.
you drinking a half a teaspoon of baking soda and some water every morning?
I haven't been, but I've been taking honey.
Try the baking soda that alkalizes your body.
Good to know. Yes. And I do my mushroom stuff, so like I've always got something mushroom. I try once a day to have some sort of mushroom intake. I think they're here to cure the world. They're so neat. Oh, I was so lazy tonight. I said we're just gonna order a pizza. But yeah, I've been thinking about the process that I'm doing, and as of right now, I've got it to where it's 6 classes. But I don't really want to do it anymore until I know the end, the last piece that is done. There, because I don't. I mean, I don't know. Hmm. Hold on one second. I don't know right now the classes. Like I said, I don't really want to teach anymore. I'm not. How do I teach something that that I've not completed, and I don't have the all the answers. I don't want to do that really. But I know that here's the catch 22. I know that if I continue and go any further, then I won't be able to teach it. So I'm kind of stuck here, not knowing what, not knowing whether to continue or. I mean, I know to continue with what I'm doing, but I don't know about teaching anybody anything.
I know in my journey, I realized because, I was doing this with other people. Of course, I was with Patrick and everybody. And just like with Patrick, um, it was all trial and error. It's kind of like throwing crap at a wall and seeing what sticks.
That's what I've been
And
saying I'm doing the
anybody
whole
that
time.
Right, and everybody that stuck through his teachings were, the only ones that actually made it were the ones with the ambition to keep going, to keep trying. And that's what I think, Starseed, people need to understand. You cannot be taught this. Yes, somebody can give you, you know, a road to walk, But in the end, it's always going to end up with you and how
Right.
you go about it, what your knowledge is, and how much you've educated or self-educated, how much you've educated yourself. Because I have family members, and I have people that are intrigued by my accomplishments, but they want it done for them. And it doesn't necessarily work like that because, you hear all these people that, give up their driver's license. I have a right to travel. I don't have to have a driver's license. Yeah, that's fine and dandy. You can do that. That's your right. But you also have to know the law to deal with the other side. So, and they go, well, why was I taken to jail? Now I'm taken to jail, you know, for driving with no license and no plate and blah, 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 blah. And they got all these fines. And it's like, did you know how to handle the situation? And that's what
Right.
people are missing. They want the handout of the forms. The forms are easy. You fill out the forms, you do what we say, but in the end, it's always going to be up to you. Because you have to learn to stand on your square. You have to know, because that's how they pick people off. They know if you're educated, self-educated. And I keep telling people that all the time. I'm like, there's two rules to this game. You cannot mix public with private. And rule number two, you better know your shit. Because you can have yourself set up out of the system all you want. You could still end up in jail. Are you going to know how to handle that?
Right. So you make it across to the other side, but do you know how to operate there? Because that's more
Correct. Yep, that's my point. You stated it very well. Thank you.
like you got to be able to stand on your own ground, stand on your stuff. Because even if you make it over there, if you don't know how to defend it, then what's
And
the point?
that's how they weed people out too. So I can give you all the forms and I can tell you how to fill them out. But when shit hits the fan, are you going to be able to hold your own? That's the question. And they will do a trial and error where they will challenge you just to see if you were a copycat or somebody that actually read, you know, a book like Fruits from a Poisonous Tree or Redemption.
Mm-hmm. I've been getting into the Green Book
Yeah,
this
that's
week,
a good one too. Mhm.
and I've got so I had an attorney. Well, she posted them online, literally her entire law library for decoration. And I don't know if that's something that legally that you have to put in there because every time I see law books on like Facebook, it always says for decoration. And I'm like, those aren't for decoration. That's for knowledge. But I got her whole law library pretty much, like her UCC books, her property form books, like everything.
That's awesome.
And so that's where
I'm
I get
intrigued.
most of my stuff from. Is I have all of these books. Like I've got one. It's called 3D or Systematic Settlements 3D. It's a set of two books, and they're like I don't know. I mean, it's pretty cool. And then I've got a set of five of the Social Security books. They're huge. Plus the federal, all of the federal stuff. And but yeah, she gave them to me. She was like, "Yeah, we're closing up." She was old, probably like in her 60s or 70s. She wasn't old, but she was older. So that's where a lot of my stuff comes from. I'm not like reading reading this stuff off the internet. I go and find it in a book.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome. That is awesome. And you should actually, maybe share some information in those books like on lives and stuff because
yeah,
that's
and I've read
valuable information and not everybody has you know access to such information. Why do you think some of these books are up to, like, I spent $1,500 on one book. Now ask yourself why that book was $1,500. It's a banking
Right.
book. Because they know the majority, 90%, are not going to pay $1,500 for that book, but that book will definitely explain everything about getting out of the system.
Yeah, it'll pay for itself in no time. Yeah, I've
Exactly.
got wills of trust and estates, and then the Encyclopedia of Real Estate Forms, and then another, the planning and drafting of wills and trusts. I mean, I've got more, but that's just what I've got here on my bed right now. An elder law, because I was like, there's probably something that I'm looking for in elder law. Has to be something in here good.
Well, I was on a live the other day, and oh, I don't remember the live. It was Wit State or whatever, and they were talking about some stuff, and I said, whenever I have to go into court, you know what I do? I take the court back in time. So I pull the past forward as far as my law to get remedy. And that's what most people don't do. Why do you think they keep changing law years after years after years? Because nobody will go back in time to pull that ancient law forward where your rights are actually.
And you're supposed to. It actually, if you read, so I'm in a Commonwealth state where, I mean, it's basically the same, but it's not. The way that they go about making rulings is a little bit differently. They base it off of past trials, and if you go back far enough, and you go back to like before everything was so corrupt, you can definitely always win your case.
Right, because that law trumps anything forward. Like I use the peace treaty of 1871 all the time.
Oh, and I applied to be a public or a notary republic or whatever. I sent off my stuff with the little $10 fee the other day. So hopefully that goes through.
Gigi, I just want to say I go to court because I fight other people's mortgages. So that's why I find myself in court, because these people already got themselves in court. So that's why I go to court. To your comment.
So you have to know about like the land patents from the families and stuff. You have to have some info on that.
Correct. But these people, what they do is they get themselves in a bind. They can't make their payments, and they find themselves in foreclosure court. It's all illegal. It's all maritime. They're not allowed to do it in the first place.
Legal.
But they need somebody that knows the law well enough to, tell the courts they have no jurisdiction. Because if you hire an attorney, the attorney gets a cut of the money when everything's finalized.
My family has got some land that they've had since like before the revolution, or I guess right after the Revolutionary War. My grandfather was awarded it, and it's still in the family. Like they've got a family cemetery out there and everything. The Waltons.
Yeah, if you have a piece of property and you bury somebody on it, then nobody can take it from you.
Yep.
Because now it's a cemetery.
But I said something. This was whenever, I mean, I was still kind of new into this part of everything, and I had said something when we were up at the funeral home, and they were like, "Oh no, that's not true. That's not true."
Well, of course, the funeral home's going to say that, because I'm going to tell you something about the funeral home. When somebody dies, the funeral home is the one that goes and gets copies of the deceased person. All right? They get their paperwork. they're going to ask you, how many copies of the death certificate would you like? I told my mom when Dad died, I said 10.
Yep.
And the funeral person said, well, you should get maybe 5. And I knew what he was doing.
He was gonna get some himself.
Because he's going to collect 10, which creates more bonds, which going to make more securities out there. Okay? I knew what he was doing, and I think he was shocked that I said get 10 because you're only allowed 10. I told my mom, get 10. Because the funeral home takes 1. They securitize it, and they live off of that for years to come. I think it's 10 years. The court, the state, and the treasury. I mean, you've got all these people taking the death certificate of the deceased person. Guess who's not taking it? But one.
The family.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I had to go back and claim all those death certificates that everybody took because my mom did not know.
At least
And
you did that.
I told the funeral guy I want 10. He crapped his pants. He's like, well, you should probably just get 5. Told my mom that. I got up and walked out of the room. I was infuriated because I knew what was happening.
Yeah, I did this. I knew, and that's the same person that told me that I was wrong about being able to not have to pay property taxes if you had somebody buried on your land. And like, I told my grandpa, I was like, yeah, get 10. And they looked at him and they were like, there's not really a need for that many. They were like, you're going to need one for this and this. And I was like,
Right. They don't want you to get all 10 because you can claim all 10. Now if you claim all 10, the funeral home can't claim, the state can't claim, the government can't claim.
My grandmother, so my dad recently went and cleaned out a bunch of her stuff. And he was like, yeah, but I don't know why. He was like, she had a stack of family death certificates. And I was like, she did? He was like, yeah, I don't even know why she would have those. And I'm like, I do. She worked for the 12th district judge. And then before that, she worked for the chief fire department or whatever as their secretary. I was like, I do. I know why. I'm like,
I want to answer Rissy's question. Yes, you can go back and get copies 5 years later because you got a 10-year window. The issue is how many were actually claimed by the funeral home. So did the funeral home get 10 copies? All 10 copies? And only give you 5? That's the question that you're going to ask, because if they did claim all 10, then you're not able to claim anymore. So what you have to go back and do is claim those bonds.
It's a 706. IRS form 706. Look at that.
I've got some papers from the not the IRS, but the other one, Fiscal Services, about claiming passed on relative stuff. I don't know nothing about that kind of stuff really, but I know that's why she would save those, and I know that was her intention.
How would we find out if the funeral home claimed any, or how many they claimed?
Well, once you go try to claim all 10, and they go, well, all 10 were already claimed, then you'll know.
I just went to the vital statistics and got a copy of my mom's, and she'd passed 4 years ago, but I don't know if it was claimed or not. They didn't say anything. I don't know how to tell
Well,
if it was
you
claimed
need to
or
go.
not.
You need to ask for 10.
Okay.
10 copies of the death certificate. And see what they allow. And then you can also, I'm not sure how to do it, to be honest with you. Maybe Starseed knows. But there's got to be a way to see all the death certificates, because they all have a number, what went out.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a way to do that. I have not done it because I just recently had somebody die in my family, and I haven't gone through the whole process yet. So,
And I
because
haven't
I had
entered.
never seen death until this year.
KW asked if they could spread their daughter's ashes in their backyard. Does that count?
Well, they don't need to
Have you
know your
left them?
business or how you do it. You just say somebody's buried out there. You're
Yep.
private. You're a private person. They don't need they're not going to come dig up bones or a grave.
Or ashes?
But they like to trick us into stuff all the time. Like they are constantly tricking us into stuff. And that's why if you don't know how to stand on your shit, then there's no point in going. There's no point in doing all the work or having somebody else do it for you. There's just no point if you can't stand on it. And I'm still learning. I haven't figured it all out yet. They could probably still stump me in a heartbeat, but I know to question things now and not take it for what they say. Give me a book.
Haley wants to know if you could claim all the death certificates if they have other living children.
I
Yes,
haven't
you
gotten it.
can yes, you can as long as they have not nobody else has claimed them. Now, if somebody comes up and they know what you know, and say that child comes up and claims, then you may have to pay some taxes. So everything's a tax. Okay? So say for instance you go claim on somebody else, and then that person figures out the system and realizes they go and claim their portion, then and you've already claimed it all, then all you're going to do is get a tax, something from the IRS saying you need to pay these taxes. But the majority of people don't know.
I think that the reason that they make taxes so confusing for us is because they don't want us to know that the IRS can be our best friend.
Right,
In case
correct.
they mud it all up.
Correct. What do you think these third parties are doing? They know you're naive, so guess what they're doing? They're going in. That's why the IRS, you can only claim 3 years back. The reason why is because anything before 3 years, you have 3 years. Do you remember in the Bible where it says, and Jesus rose after the third day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3 is very significant because before 3 years, whoever owned your property at that moment that you didn't claim and you abandoned, they can now claim. Do you understand that? That's why when you're going through this process, you can only go 3 years back. Because anybody that's claimed your property prior to that 3 years, they have it. So they collected everything. You abandoned the property is what they say. Whether it's a court case, whether it's a foreclosure, bankrupt, whatever. You never went back and claimed your money, so the judges claimed it, the courts claimed it, the state claimed it, the government claimed it. But that's what people don't understand. You have to claim everything within 3 years. That's why it says in the Bible on the third day he rose. What they're saying is he awakened to the information and he took back all his claims and property. And your property is you. Your all caps name.
Hey, I'm having difficulties. I don't know why they took away my microphone button, but I have to like go into my panel box to turn my mic on. I just wanted to let you know, Starseed, if you will go into the same settings area where you do the resizing and go all the way to the left, it'll make that screen a little bit bigger.
Okay. So, all right.
No, you can't just do a 1099B on a death certificate. You have to get an eminent domain depending on what party you are. You need to prove to the government that you have sole right as an heir. All right, so you have to do an eminent domain, and then you can go in and claim all the estate. Listen, guys, that is one of the things that I'm just now starting to learn about the death certificate, so I don't have all the answers. I apologize for that. Um, like I said, I come from a very small family. We're very tight, and I just had my first death this year. And I'm going in and trying to claim all the estate for my mom.
And I just,
But
I was
no,
just gonna,
it's not as simple as a 1099B. No, you have to do an eminent domain. You have to prove to the government that you are an heir.
that's what I need to do.
You have to prove to the IRS that you're an offspring or a descendant
How
or
far back can you go?
an heir. I'm sure there is a form for heir, but like I said, I'm still in the process. Like I've never dealt with this before. So it's all new to me. It's something I'm working on myself.
I've got a form I want to show you and ask you what you think. Um,
I'm dealing with the IRS now to try to get answers. Of course, you have to call them 100 million times to get to the right person. So I'm dealing with the process, and I've got 10 years to do it to reclaim everything for my mom. Because I have a different leg to stand on. I mean, I have something up against me too. I was adopted by this person as my father. So, yes, you got 10 years after they pass. You got up to 10 years. After the 10-year, then it goes straight to the government.
Okay, but that's only for next of kin or whatever. Like if you're the next of kin, I guess that's for your mom. That wouldn't work for grandmother or great grandmother.
No, you can do that as well as long as you go up the chain of command. So say for instance, if you claim your mother and you're doing stuff for her, your great grandmother's already died. You then can do an heir, but this is way above me, above my knowledge. And I'm just getting into all this. Because we can claim up to our grandparents and our great grandparents. There's a way to do it without the 10-year mark.
do you see this form that I have up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what?
it's a fiscal service form. Yeah, I
Did they
see that.
send you that, you said?
No, this one I found online. I was just curious if it would.
What number is it? Because I deal with fiscal services. I know their forms very well. What number is it?
1050, and I haven't seen this one yet either. And I know all the forms.
Yeah, I do too.
This one's pretty cool.
I've got a couple
But
in here. Like,
once you go up to the chain of command and you start taking over the estate of your parents, you can move up to the grandparents and the great grandparents. You can keep going because I'm a descendant of an oil company. And that's how I realized all this. And I'm still working on all my stuff. And I don't know, like, it was a big name, McClure. You remember McClure gas stations in the 1960s?
yeah.
Well, probably most of you aren't old enough to know that because it's much older people, I'm sure. But I'm a descendant of those heirs.
Mm-hmm.
See it there?
I see it.
Laughing and crying at the same time.
That's cute.
Oh, Lordy.
But you can go after your great grandparents, your grandparents. You go after everybody, but you have to work your way up that ladder. It's kind of like that's where I think that they talk about, the stairs to heaven. You got to climb that ladder to take everything back.
What about this form here?
Okay, yeah, that's the
It's the same as the registered securities form.
right. What you're doing if you're under the fiscal services and you're distributing as a fiduciary certain securities to certain people. So you do all this with the IRS or the Treasury. It's all the same forms. It's just, a third party. So it's like pick your poison. Who do you want to deal with? If you have a fiscal service account, you can definitely go through them. When I first did it, they locked my account because I did a couple things incorrect.
Yeah, you can go through your TDA account if you check the hard box when you did the. So did you check the box where it says unlock the hard box on the original?
It's fine now, but I realized what I did wrong.
No,
I did it
I was
without.
asking Elena because she has her TDA set up, but I was wondering if she checked that box so it didn't lock. Is it active, Elena?
No, my TDA account. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay.
Yes. But I haven't, like I said, didn't do a bunch of forms because they scare me. Once you do something wrong on them, you lock up your whole account or you get in trouble and then you can't do anything.
Well, all they want you to do is correct what is incorrect. They're not. It's nothing bad. It's like the IRS. They're not going to move forward until you correct what you need to correct. The IRS is a little bit more lenient than Treasury Direct, but you got to think of them as they're all third-party companies. Okay? And they want your business. They want your money. Because every time you do business through these people, they're getting paid. Okay? So they want your business. They're actually just trying to guide you. And go, look, you're on the right path. You just need to correct something. You're missing something. You don't understand something. Go back and look at your shit again. Is pretty much what they're saying. They're not there to harm you. So when they lock your account, like I said, my account got locked when I first did Treasury Direct. They're not there to harm you in any way. And they'll send you a piece of paper, like Treasury Direct when you get locked. They'll send you a piece of paper and they go, please send this copy with every correspondence that you send to us. The IRS does the same thing. The reason why is because they're telling you you're over the target. You just need to fix something. Because, like I said many times in these groups, they're not going to let just anybody out of the bag. They're not. They're only going to want to know people. They're only going to want people that have actually, that they know, understand, and have done the legwork. That have not sat back and cookie cut every guru that they hear. So anything that happens with you with the IRS or Treasury Direct or even the Treasury or whoever else you go by, they're guiding you with these certain incidents like that. So a lockout is not a bad thing. They're just telling you you're on the right track. But everybody jumps to the negative instead of the positive. What happened to the comments?
They're there.
Oh,
Here,
I
I
can't see
might
them.
need to change these. I'm going to change the layout.
You might have accidentally slid over to the right. You have to put your thing to the left. Sometimes when you slide your screen to the right, it'll take all those comments off.
Well, I like answering people's questions.
Yeah, if you slide your phone your front of your phone to the left, they'll come back. Sometimes if you accidentally hit your phone, it'll slide them to the right and
Gotcha.
away from there.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will try that. There you go. It worked. Thank you for that knowledge. I'm new to TikTok, so I don't know.
I'd done it a couple of times myself, and I was like, "Where'd they go? Oh my gosh!" And then I accidentally got them back, and so I was like, "Oh crap!" That's what I did.
No, I appreciate that. I just like to answer people's questions when they ask. I'm looking for the gold question.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is the best way about going and getting my silver and stuff appraised for the trust?
Okay, what are you going to do? A surety bond?
Yeah, probably.
Because you really don't need to get it appraised for the trust. So, like, are you talking about like old silver?
I want to make it the body of the trust.
Well, like with my trust, because I buy silver, okay? And I buy it to do bonds to back everything like my car insurance and what have you, because it's lawful money. So
Right.
I buy monthly silver, but I buy, silver that's not old or anything or been tampered with. It's silver from a legit company, and it's 99.9999, percent pure. So
I'm
if
talking
you
like
need to get old silver
half.
appraised, I'm not sure about that. I don't buy old silver because sometimes it can be real, it cannot. I guess you could go to a coin dealer
Yeah, but they're
and
such a
see,
ripoff.
but it should say it on there.
So, okay, I have an 1882 silver dollar,
Okay.
and I have a lot more, but I'm not gonna go on. Like, I've got half
I
dollars of that.
would get the red book. If I was you, I'd probably get the red book, the 2024 red book, and
have the
do your
blue
own
one.
appraisal.
Okay,
The
wait a
red
minute.
book is the most.
Who asked me that question? Because I think you're missing something here. If
Starseed
you
asked.
take
I asked.
silver, and you're going to do a bond, a silver bond, for, say, car insurance, $1 million for car insurance, okay? You're just going to write up a bond for how much you say your silver is worth.
Oh.
So
So
she
I
don't need an actual number of
Correct.
appraisal.
Yeah, I was missing that.
was missing that. I was under the
Right.
impression.
And I wasn't sure what you were asking me about,
Well, I
getting
was
silver
wondering how
appraised. You don't need to appraise it.
Okay,
It's
I was
lawful
wondering
money.
how to fund the trust. Like, how do we get from here to there? How do I go from, okay, I have this silver now. I want it to fund me. I want it to pay my
You draw up a
expenses.
silver bond.
Okay. All right, that was the
And
answer.
so you go, I got this much silver. This is what I got. And you draw up how much you want the bond to be.
Okay.
Because, like, you can send in, like, maybe, I don't know, 0.02 ounce of silver into your mortgage company and say, here, that promissory note's a negotiable instrument, so I'm giving you 0.02 ounce of silver to pay off the debt.
Okay.
You put the price. Precious metals, there's no price. You place the price. Only the Federal Reserve puts a price on, money. But you're king or queen, so you name the price of your silver or gold. And you just create the bond because we can't walk around with tons of silver in our pocket. So you create the bond, just like the Federal Reserve sends you out little green notes in place of gold. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. And yeah, kind of changes the way I'll be moving tomorrow.
And yes, somebody did correct me. It is a silver surety bond.
So, okay, it is a 30.
But you name the price. It's usually like when I paid for my condo in Orlando, I paid with 21 silver dollars. I took 21 silver dollar coins and I paid for the house. And 21's kind of the going rate, so you can do a surety bond for 21 silver dollars.
Okay. And it doesn't matter which silver dollars, just 21 silver dollars?
21 silver dollars. Silver dollars. Now, if you got half ounces and stuff like that, that's a different story.
So it would be anything made before 1933, right?
It does not have to be. All mine is
the reason
recent.
I say that is because they stopped.
But if you got something before 1933, it should be worth more money.
Okay. I know in 1933 they switched it and they stopped putting 90% silver and stopped making them 90% silver. They went to like 60. And then in the 60s or something it went to 60%.
Yeah, if you got anything before 1933, then you can name your price.
Oh.
I base all mine off of 21 silver dollars. So when I did my 1 million insurance bond through my silver bond, I did it, 21 silver dollars for 1 million. And they have to accept it. They have to accept it as value because the Federal Reserve will pay it. Because it's lawful money.
1882 silver dollars.
That's long.
Pardon me?
I said, how quickly can someone do something like that with that, sending that off like that?
What do you mean sending what off? The surety bond?
The
You just type,
$21 surety.
yeah, you just type up the surety bond, you sign it, and you find somebody that will accept it. It can be your bank. Like, my bank will accept it, but it's a credit union. You can go through, like, Fidelity, they'll accept it. Or any other brokerage house will accept it. Because what they're going to do is they're going to monetize it. And they're going to sell it out on the market 10 times the amount of money. So you take 21 silver dollars at, what is silver right now? $25 a pop? So it's actually more than that, to be honest with you, because everything's an illusion, and you did not hear that from me. But so what they're going to do is they're going to take that silver bond, they're going to monetize it, branch it out to 9 other banks, 10 times the amount of money. Then they're going to securitize it, and then you can within a year probably make. You got a bond for $1 million for insurance. You could probably 10 times that. You're probably looking at about 20, 30, who knows, million. Just off that one bond, and all you got to do is call back in the bond.
And then you collect all that?
Yeah, when you call in the bond.
What? Okay, so is it the same with savings bonds?
Right. What you want to do is let it sit out there for a while and collect some money for you, and then bring it back. What do you think the billionaires do?
Hold on, I have a $100 savings bond from 2008. But like,
Yeah, you
whenever I
gotta
look
let
it
it
up online,
mature.
yeah,
You gotta let it mature.
when I looked it up
So,
online, it said that
like
it was
your
like
mortgage bond, I'm gonna give you guys an idea here. When you bought your home, the extent of your mortgage bond was 90 days. Your mortgage was paid within 90 days off of the bond that you signed. Your house was paid for within 90 days. Mine was, when I bought the condo in Orlando, it was paid off in 60 days. I watched the bond get paid off. And then they securitized it. You let it ride, let them do whatever they want with it, and then you go back in, I don't know, 10 years later, call on the bond. I think I made 30 million off that one bond because they sold it 3 times. But see,
so.
here's what the company doesn't want you to know. They're making the money. They don't want you to know that. They're expecting you to abandon the property. Then when you go call on the bond, guess who has to pay all that money back? All those people that changed hands with that bond.
What would I read to get more knowledge on this?
Banking.
Okay.
There's a book called Banker's Manual. Banker's Manual's Secret. Read that. Somebody just asked, how does the bank know you have a silver to back the bond? If the government decides to call in that bond and you don't have the silver to back it, okay? So here's where the issue lies. Number one, you better have the silver to show the proof. Now, you're not going to show silver for $1 million on 21 silver dollars because it's securitized. So all you have to do is show that 21 silver dollars that you created the bond with. Because then the bond was securitized, which made $1 million, which probably made another $1 million, which probably made another $1 million. So all you have to do, so if you create a silver surety bond, do it for 21 silver dollars. Make sure you have 21 silver dollars, in case they ask. And like the lady was talking, yeah, top secret baker's manual. Thank you. Um, so if like the lady was saying she had stuff, silver dollars from before 1933, I would definitely look into getting that appraised because she could be sitting on more money. Now I have like if you have a 10-ounce silver bar, you could turn that into a bond. Say I have a 10-ounce silver bar. Turn that into a silver surety bond.
I have the little break off pieces of silver too, for like carrying around doing commerce.
You always carry a silver dollar in your pocket in case you end up in court or something. You can hand it to a judge and go, "Here's my payment," and they have to accept it.
So I think
one
Doug in the comments was asking you, Sloan, can you use silver certificates?
I'm sure. Don't those come from the bank?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the stock market?
I think they're talking about the dollar bills.
Silver certificates, absolutely, yeah. You can get so you can turn your silver like in a bond and ask for silver certificates. Yes, you can. Not sure really why you'd want to do that, but you can.
Less weight.
Yeah, but most people don't handle money that way, unfortunately. So, like, if you do your silver surety bond, like what I did with my insurance, I did it through the bank, and I have checks through my bank. So if I get in a car accident, I just go, "How much is your damage, sir?" He goes, "It's 10,000." I write him a check for 10,000, and I be about my way.
You're talking about
No
that comes out
cops.
of what account to cover that?
You do it through your own personal bank account.
Okay, so but you have to pick the right bank that's going to be able to do this type of thing for you, right?
Right. You have to have a bank that will accept those, but it's got to be through the trust.
From what I'm reading, the trust is who everybody needs one. That's where all of your safety is.
Right, because then you're not held liable. If you have a trust, you're not held liable for nothing. So when they pull you in for court, they can't. They can't pull you into court. They can't arrest you. They can't do nothing. They can't do anything to you. They can't charge you. They can't fine you. The utility company can't charge you. The electric company can't charge you. Because everything's in a trust now.
Oh shit! Like what law would I? A trust law, I guess. I just need to read up on that.
I can't hear you, honey.
Oh, I said, and what would I need to read up on? I said, well, trust law. That's what I need to read.
Right, trust law. Yes. And there's a good book for that. I'd have to look it up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, my microphone's being so weird. All right, so with the trust, I've heard people say express the trust, and I always thought that was implying that like there's a trust already set up that we can use. You're talking about setting up a totally different trust, but out of my curiosity,
right,
I'm wondering, is there
no people? All these gurus are really like, I don't know what they're doing. An express trust. Yeah, that's not. I don't even know where that logic came from, to be honest with you. So what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to move your all caps name and put it in this trust so that your all caps name could no longer be touchable. And that's the reason for the trust. So you're moving everything into the private now, including your all caps name. That means the electric company, the utility company, any corporation, any court, they cannot touch you. Because now your all caps name is owned by a trust, which is not you. You just separated the private and the public.
Quick question. Would it be a more simple process or approach to have everything set up in a trust that's like for a business and have the bills going through a business account versus doing all this with your name being put into the trust?
I honestly, that was the hard way, and that was the actual way that I actually took. And I later learned I didn't actually have to do it that way. I actually went through the LLC and all that, and I realized that was not what I actually needed to do. So I took the hard road in doing my process, but it was trial and error. Now that I know what I know, people have an easier way to do things. And all you got to do is set up that trust with your bank separate, and all you do is put your all caps name in that trust. I went through the LLC. I did it the hard way. But back then I was throwing crap at a wall and seeing what stuck. And now that I know what I know, I can help people, life get easier quicker than what I had to go through. So set up the EIN. That's easy to get with the IRS. I got the phone number for it, everything. Just get it and then write out your trust. Who's your beneficiaries? You're going to name yourself as the grantor and the trustee, and you're going to put your all caps name in that trust. You're going to get it notarized. That's all you need to do. You're going to go to your bank. You're going to turn your bank account over into that trust. You're done. Now you are out of the system.
Hey, Corey in the chat, I don't know how to say your name, Shakori or something. As far as a business and being taxes, it depends on how you set up the corporation, what type, and whether you'll have tax obligations or not.
Lisa, can you repeat that? I don't know where you found it earlier.
JC, I have a question for you. When you're saying to write out your trust and get your bank account and put that into the trust, are you talking about your private bank EIN?
No, this has nothing to do with the private banker's EIN. That is something that is separate. Private banker's EIN, if you want to get that, I do have that as well. It's a transmitting utility, and you can use that as well. But I'm just trying to help people that are at the beginning stages to get there faster.
I completely understand. I completely understand, and I so get it, especially because things with like the UCC filing, like what exactly do I need to do to file the UCC-1 or to get this moved forward so I can be out of the system?
Okay. All right. This is a good question that your question, a lot of people don't ask, and it's a very good question. I'm going to tell you how I did it. All right.
Thank you.
The UCC-1 is a double-edged sword because number one, it keeps you in the system. But if you know what you're actually doing, you can be out of the system. So here's what I'm going to tell you how I did mine. UCC-1 was on my all caps name only. So I took over the vessel as a secure party creditor, okay? That was it. Then, once I had the trust, I filed a non-UCC one in the private that nobody has access to, but I did it registered mail for myself and if shit hits the fan. So I backed myself on the private side with a non-UCC one. And on the public side, as far as my LLC, I did a UCC one, claiming all my property on that end. So on my non-UCC, I did it through my banker's EIN, claiming everything. And on the UCC one, on my LLC, I claimed all rights to anything that the debtor buys or encompass under my birth certificate. And I put it under, what did I put under? I put it under something. I gotta look it up. It wasn't the Foreign Grantors Trust, but I put it under the LLC, but that's the public. So I literally went above and beyond with separating the private and the public. So I did extremes of two sides when I did my remedies.
I would really like to talk to you at some point in time with my fiance, because we are at that stage. We have so much that we've gotten the private banker EIN, the estate EIN, the foreign grantor trust EIN, but we are at that point, and we have come to such a place where we are beating our head against a wall to get that and to not screw ourselves up.
Well, I just told you. I just gave you like huge golden nuggets there.
I know, I do, but I'd still like to talk to you with her at some point in time.
The
She's at
thing
work.
is when I come on these lives, after a live, I get hundreds of like texts from people. I
I'm
don't have
sure.
time to keep up with it, so I have people just ask questions when I'm on the live. I just gave you huge nuggets there. What I said was
I know.
what you need to do, because you've got the UCC set up. You need to set it up as the vessel. You're the secure party. You're going to be the fiduciary, which is your lowercase name. That lowercase name will also come in and become the trustee on your trust. Okay? So then what you're going to do is back it up with a non-UCC, taking that part out of the system. That way you're double secure, you're double protected. So, because here's the problem with UCC ones. You're in the public on a UCC one, no matter what. What you're saying is you're going to abide by their rules under their conditions at all times, even as the secure party creditor. That's fine and dandy if you want to put liens on people, put liens on yourself, do an ag lien on yourself. I did all that. But I still didn't feel comfortable with having myself out there because I'm still in their system. So the next step I took, and this is a Patrick Devine step, and I learned it from him, I ended up doing a non-UCC on my private, which was my trust. And I did it through the banker's EIN. Now you can do it through the trust EIN. Don't go as far as I did, because I went above and beyond. So all you need to do is a non-UCC filing. On top of the UCC filing, you're going to put it under your trust if you only have a trust EIN. And you're going to claim all rights into that trust. With that non-UCC, you're not going to send it to anybody. You're not going to file it. You're going to register, mail it to yourself. That's for your eyes only. So if somebody calls you into court and says, I'm foreclosing on your home, You're going to walk in with that piece of paper, that registered piece of mail, and you're going to go, oh, really? That property's in a trust. You have no rights over that property. Then you can charge them money. I have a company now who's trying to foreclose on a home. I walked a family member through all this. She's looking at $400,000. $400,000 on a $100,000 home. Because of a non-UCC. You just have to be smarter than them. You have to play their game against them, because what they're doing is they're looking for taxes. And guess what the IRS is going to do when I walk into that court and say, listen, she has a $400,000 lien on this property because it's non-UCC, but this company has a $100,000 lien on her property. IRS, what's going to make you the most amount of money? The IRS is going to side with the $400,000 and the owner, because everything comes down to taxes. I hate it when you guys get quiet.
I had my mic muted so I didn't make any noise while you were talking.
The IRS is your friend, and they want whoever's going to pay them the most amount of money. Guess why they always come after you? Number one, you're naive. Number two, you don't know the system. And number three, you don't play the game. So they're always going to side with the people that bring them the money. Now that you know how to play their game against them, guess who's going to bring the IRS the most amount of money? You are. And it's not going to cost you a dime out of your pocket.
Yeah, and I've learned I was very good whenever you're doing any of those forms to put in your letter of intentions and your disclaimers that you're new, or that you can make any changes if necessary.
Revocable. You want to do a revocable trust? Somebody asked. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I know, believe me, you're fine.
Listen, these third parties just want to get paid, but the most important thing is you separate yourself from the system. And you got to realize you're going to work on the UCC side, which is their codes, rules, regulations, policies, but you're going to do it with the all caps name as a vessel, you as a secure party creditor, and then you're going to separate, divide a line right down the middle with the trust and a non-UCC, putting them on notice. It's deadly. It's deadly. That you will become unstoppable. And there ain't shit they can do about it. Because now you're no longer playing their game, they're playing your game. That's a checkmate. A non-UCC under the trust, either a trust EIN or a banker's EIN, or for a grantor's trust EIN, that's checkmate. If you guys want to do rent, then I would just claim it for the year ahead of time. As long as you have your trust, you can file a 1099-B and do the whole year. So if your rent is, say, $1,200 times 12, and you're going to fill out a 1099-B. Barter the amount on the trust and get yourself paid back.
So that's how you do it ahead of time. Because I know that they have like all of the
Well, you
allowances.
can do it through an ES. Like, say for instance, the IRS form ES.
What are we talking
You
about?
could take money out prior with the ES form and IRS ES form. So just figure out your rent for 12 months and then do it quarterly. So your rent's $1,200 a month. So you do it for 3 months and then you write the date and just do it quarterly on an ES form and pay yourself ahead of time for that month, and then that money sits
On an
in a
ES
non
form and pay yourself.
in a non-interest bearing account so that it gets paid out each month.
Oh.
What are we talking about?
How do you claim your mortgage payments back? Well, that I would do the 1099-B. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the year
What you
or
talking about?
however you can only go back 3 years. Wait a minute, I'm getting feedback. Hold on. So what you're going to do is you fill out the 1099-B, you put your year, 2 years, 3 years, however many years you're trying to claim. And then you're going to times it by 10 because that's how much extra money they made on the account. You're just going to estimate. The IRS will fix the number if you're incorrect. And that goes back to the company to pay the taxes. Because all you're doing is paying taxes. You're paying taxes for everybody else to use your money. Stop doing that. No, it's not paying yourself the $250 a year. You can do it through the ES if you want to pay rent that way, because you're going to log it in your logbook as rent, not paying yourself. Or you can do a miscellaneous, 1099 miscellaneous. See, you need to learn the IRS forms. There's many outlets here, guys. There's always 10 million ways to skin a cat.
Do you happen to utilize the postal service to like do your notifications of your trust yearly and stuff?
I didn't understand the question. Say that again, or I didn't hear.
Hold on.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you happen to utilize the postal services for like your notifications to the different places yearly of your trust?
Well, when you sign up with the Postal Service, it's a trust in itself.
Right,
And
right,
the
right. I
Postal
know
Service
that.
is a bank.
Well, I'm just trying to understand, whatever we're going to call it, the statement of ownership. Because I feel like that is, you're taking statement ownership of your trust, of your all caps trust and all of that within it. So I was wondering if, like, whenever you're doing your publications, if you're like doing your notifications of your fee schedule and everything else, like whenever you're doing within that periodical certification.
I still didn't understand the question, but with the Postal Service, you are kind of like protecting yourself that way. with the trust, with the notifications. It's like what's the best word I'm looking for?
I guess I was asking,
Because
do you use the
you
periodicals
realize
for
when
that?
you mail out letters, if you say for instance you have a deadline and you send it out that day and it's postmarked that day, do you understand the legality, like the how important that is in the system?
Mm-hmm.
How much power that has? And if somebody does not respond in a time and date that you specify, how much power that has. So the post office is by far the most powerful people that we have to back us up, as long as you send it certified or registered.
So I guess my question was, do you utilize the periodicals for that?
What do you mean?
Like, because I know you have to send out periodicals every so often if you're doing that, and I feel like it has something to do with the trust stuff, and I'm just trying to figure it out, like that part out, periodicals.
I do not know. I don't have an answer for you.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll send it to you. Well, I can't send it on TikTok.
Yeah, let me read it. I'll send you my email address.
Okay. Yeah, then I can send you the whole packet here, the forms.
Right.
Because this is
I'd be interested in reading what you're talking about. I'm not sure.
it's called a Statement of Ownership, Management, and Circulation. All periodical publications except requester publications.
Why are they sending you that though?
It was on the top of, like, whenever I got a Postal One account, it was at the very top, like, with red, because you have to have it done before August 1st.
I didn't get
October
that.
1st. October 1st.
I wonder if they're testing you.
Could be. I don't know.
That's interesting. Let me read it though.
Yeah, it's form, actually, if you want, it's Form 3526. PS Form 3526. Yeah, I mean, it asks you like your for your name and your address, and then it asks you like the title of your publication, and but then it goes into more deep shit that I'm like, okay, well, why would they need to know this for a periodical?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking these questions. I'm like, I never received that. I'm trying to figure out.
It's had me scratching at my head since I saw it, so I'm like, I don't know. Then I was like,
Yeah,
okay, is your publication like your family Bible or something? Like I mean, basically your trust?
that's why you asked me that. I couldn't figure out, like, why is she asking me that?
Because I couldn't figure out the publication. Like, what else are you going to publish? I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, but even if they wanted her certificate ownership, she don't need to give up all that information because she's supposed to be in the private. That's why we use the postmaster, to keep us in the private.
Yeah, that's why
No,
I've been so stumped lately, because I just don't understand the periodicals, and I'm like, okay, it has to do something.
Let me read it. I'm not sure what they were sending you.
Somebody said, do we need to do a POA with 2848 first to take control of your all caps name before 1099s?
I saw that. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. I would just send it in with the 1099s. I send all that stuff anytime I send anything. That way there's no question. I'm one of those people, I oversend. So whenever I send the IRS stuff, they finally wrote me and said, you know what, you don't need to send all this stuff. I said, thank God.
Yeah.
I did overkill.
I think
I did overkill because I wanted to get my point across.
I think what I'm gonna have to do is actually go to the post office, or the one
No, I
that
think
actually says post office.
the postmaster.
Right. That we've got one in our area. It's the post office that doesn't have carriers.
Right.
Oh.
I'm trying to figure out why they wanted all that information from you when you're in the private. Guess
Right.
what keeps you in the private? The postmaster.
And maybe they are testing me, but I haven't done it, so
That's what I'm thinking. They're testing you. They're testing you to see how you'll react.
Who sent you the document, Elena?
well, it's on the USPS gateway because I'm on the postal one. Hold on, I'll screenshot it and show you guys what I'm talking about.
But did they specifically send it to you, or did you just find it on your own? That would be
Hold
a
on.
big-
It's at the top of the screen with like red, like a notification that it needs to be done.
Okay, yeah, they're just testing you then. Anything in red, the IRS does same shit. The IRS does same stuff. They post things in red at the top. Courts do that as well, just to test you.
Gotcha.
So you don't respond when it's red? Is that?
Probably not unless they like specifically tell you to, and that's what they didn't do is specifically tell me to do that.
A couple of people in the chat said that they got the same notification or same thing on theirs.
That's how they separate people. The people that know, the people don't know. It's fear. So what, like the court systems, they all do it. So
Marble
it's
in
a
your
fear
bathroom?
tactic because your whole life's based on fear, right? They got you fearing taxes. They got you fearing bills. They got you fearing all this stuff, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is they're testing the situation. I see this stuff on like all kinds of like government websites with the red. So what they're doing, it's to weed out the people that really don't know what they're doing. So be careful with that.
That's why I haven't touched it yet.
Hey, Sloan, I just came on. I'm sorry if you guys were talking about the